So the first thing to do is tilt the cab, which you've seen on numerous occasions, so we'll time lapse this bit.
So welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, this title of this episode is the first breakage, and as you can see, I'm having a bit of difficulty trying to jack up the cab. The lift pump started being really tight, so as you can see here, I'm just making sure that it is actually on the right setting. It is on lift and not lower, which it was, but it's really not happening. And then that first click that you just heard there, that was concerning. I didn't know what it was, but I needed to do a little bit of inspection around the vehicle, trying to see why it wasn't lifting. So I'm having a little play with it, and then you'll see that I start to then try and see if I can actually just free the cab, see if it actually looks like it's moving, because when it does start lifting, then you can actually feel it coming off. It stops, and there's absolutely nothing.
So we've got a bit of a problem. Just when trying to lift the bonnet or jack the cab up, there was a lot of resistance, and just as I was getting ready to stop lifting it, the pin in the lift mechanism sheared. So I'm just having to take this cover off now to see if I can give me better access to that pin, and I'm trying to find out why there was so much resistance in getting the cab to lift. So these are just 10mm bolts. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see, but this here is that's the jack. That's the jack mechanism for pumping it up. And you can see at the back here there's a pin. Now that looks to me like that's bent out a bit as well. Yeah, so that pin there, it goes through here. Has either sheared off or just slipped out. and that goes through. There's I don't know if you can don't know if you can see it on the camera. There's a linkage at the back that needs to go onto. So yeah, so not quite sure why that's done that. But what I'm going to try and do is try and get that back on, see if we can put that pin back in, and see if we can take the pressure off from the jack. Trying to just try and pump it back in the opposite direction and see if we can try and work out what's going on. So we have a problem. The mechanism, the piston for jacking it up, when I was trying to get that pin out in order to take this top piece off to straighten it, the whole piston came out, which has also, whether or not this happened as a result of it coming out or whether or not this was part of the problem, there was a nylon washer around the bottom of this, and that's obliterated, that's fallen into pieces. So there's a couple of things going to need to be done with this. Going to need to see if I can get a new nylon washer. Going to need to see if I can get a new torsion pin. These are pins obviously designed to fail if it goes under too much tension, which is what's happened here. Need to straighten this whole mechanism. I need to put the whole thing back together again and then see if we can actually work out what's going on. I think maybe what's happening is that the locking mechanism, where the cab locks down, I'm wondering if that's not releasing. So maybe it's a bit dry, maybe it all needs greasing up. Problem is, I'm going to have to try and get in and underneath the cab whilst the cab's in place in order to try and release those pins in order to get the cab up, so that we can actually get to the releasing mechanism. So it's a catch-22. I can't get to the releasing mechanism without releasing the cab, and I can't release the cab without getting to the releasing mechanism. So I've reached out for a bit of assistance, but that's a bit of a problem. Now in this bag here is a replacement, I don't know what you want to call it really, lift pump for the cab. So that's the pump that's used to lift the cab up, as you might recognise that. As you can see on this one, let's try and get some light on it. The pin, which is where the handle locates onto, that's broken off. But on my one, this shear pin here has broken, and this piston's come out. So between this one and my one, I'm hoping, and with somebody who knows what they're talking about, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make my one work again and get this bit fixed. So I just need to look at whether or not this just slides out or not, because the washer inside that had come off as well. So we need to have a look at what we're doing with regards to that. But that's to go on the truck as well.